Hey everybody, it's Ben. I'm back here with a whole new video here on living in Lexington, realtor with the Deuce Kirk team at Keller Williams and Commonwealth. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue talking about the surrounding areas of Lexington, Kentucky. Today, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of living in Paris, Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much we can talk about in Paris, Kentucky, talking about history, culture. Yes, if you are wondering, Paris is named after the city out there in France with the huge Eiffel Tower. And Paris, Kentucky has its own little miniature 20 foot, I think it's about 20 foot tall Eiffel Tower. But one of the coolest things, probably the first pro that jumps out at me when I think about Paris, and it is a pro in my opinion, is the fact that it's a small town. Only about 9,800 residents actually live in the area itself. And so if you're looking for that opportunity to live in a city that you can, or just even the county, Bourbon County itself, to escape and, kind of not be so crowded. This way, because Lexington, Kentucky is completely crowded. You got probably 8 square mile radius and there's 300,000 plus people, and even more when university's in session. So Paris is definitely an escape into, that small town feel. Everyone kind of knows everybody. And I mean, that just jumps out at me as a huge pro right out of the gate. Everybody, I really do hope you're enjoying the video. Real quick, do me a favor, hit that like button. You don't know how much it helps us when we're putting these videos out and making sure they get the traffic and get to people who are trying to find out a little bit more information about different areas. So do me a quick favor, hit that like button. Second pro, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reoccurring theme here in the area, and that's in cost of living. Cost of living amongst the whole state of Kentucky is way below the national average. And so that's why I'm starting to see more and more clients coming in from Canada, California, just outside the state, moving and trying to find ways to get to Kentucky because they are finding gas is cheaper, groceries are cheaper, all those daily prices, gouges that we have to deal with. It's cheaper here. So the affordability of living in Paris is phenomenal, and it's definitely a pro when looking at a new place to settle down with your family. A really good pro that I love about the fact that Paris, Kentucky is so close to Lexington is the fact that it is close to Lexington. So if you are trying to work and have a job that's inside the city of Lexington itself, but live just on the outside, trying to get away from all the craziness, Paris is close enough to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an easy 25 to 30-minute drive from Paris to Lexington. So if you want to work at the University of Kentucky or work downtown Lexington and live in the beautiful countryside of Kentucky, 100% accessible here in the area. And so that's without a doubt a pro of living in Paris, is the fact you can have that small town life and enjoy the big city, work and motion of the daily grind. But again, you get to escape and go, find that beautiful small town country feel home if that's what you're looking for. And I've been kind of like touching on this with the small town. You're in Kentucky, you're in that horse farm country, and that's the fourth pro, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that you are surrounded by beautiful horse country here in Paris. And Paris definitely lives and breathes that. I mean, you've got some famous farms that reside in Bourbon County, which is right where Paris is. And Claiborne is one that jumps out at me. And if you don't know what Claiborne Farm is, you should definitely check out my description box. I'll leave you a link at their website. Just go check out the stallions that currently live there. Horses that were prime race horses, thoroughbreds that race in the Preakness, Belmont, Derby, and now they're just, they're retired and they're, trying to help create future horses. So definitely check out that link. It is really, really cool. The grounds are beautiful, and there's other farms there as well. Hillcroft Farms, one that jumps out at me. Dina Farms, I believe, is another one that's jumping out at me. So when you move to Paris, yeah, you're moving to a small town, technically, resident-wise, but you're moving to a very historical part of the state of Kentucky. And the fact that you are going to be surrounded by beautiful horse country with tons of history, tons of famous horses that live in the area, it's a really cool, unique opportunity if that's something that you are looking for. Probably the easiest pro that I could put on here is doing through my research and talking with former clients. Paris, Kentucky has a very, very low crime rate all across the board, which, if you're a family person and you have a family trying to find that safe environment, Bourbon County fits it. Again, it goes back towards that small town feel where everybody kind of knows everybody. You just don't get all the craziness of, the big city life where crime's just a little bit higher than, if you're trying to find a small town country area. So, and that's what Paris is. Paris is that small town. Everyone knows everybody. It's low crime. Um, maybe not all the crazy entertainment stuff going on that Lexington has, but like I've said before, you're a 25-minute drive to Lexington, so you can enjoy all those fun uh, things that Lexington has, but what you can ignore kind of all the downsides of being in Lexington. First con right out of the gate, ladies and gentlemen, it's something that I talk about in every single one of my videos when I'm talking about the different areas of Lexington, and that's the weather. I have to tell you, if you haven't watched any of those other videos, I got to tell you about the weather here. We probably get 4 bad months out of the year. Okay, 4 bad months. 2 of them are extremely cold, nasty weather, and then the other 2 are extremely hot and humid. Humid is the key word in that. So the months of like June, July, August, it gets really hot. It gets very, very humid. It's like walking out inside an oven, basically. You're immediately sweating. It's hard to breathe out there. So if you're an athlete, you like to run. I know I like to run, to try and stay in shape, but I've got to do that early in the morning. Early in the morning or it's late at night. Running at high noon, 1 o'clock. I mean, it's rough. It's a rough day. It's a rough run. So just know that in the summer months, it does get humid. It doesn't get to the 110, dry heat that you hear about in Dallas, Texas, or Arizona. But weeks it's 95, but it feels like 105. So that's kind of just the downside of that. On the flip side, when it comes to winter, our real bad months are January and February. I mean, right now I'm in the middle of December. Ladies and gentlemen, it's raining outside and it's like 55 degrees. So we'll start to move further into the coldness this month, but the worst months are definitely January and February. Every like 3 to 4 years, we get a real bad ice storm here in February, and so that's mostly what we get. We don't get snow. We don't get that beautiful white powder that you see probably up north. You're used to seeing up north. We just get straight, ice half the time because the temperature fluctuates and the ground doesn't stay cold enough, so it just melts and then it freezes overnight. And so the biggest issue with us is ice. And Paris being out in the country, it's not terrible roads. I mean, it's relatively flat for the most part. It does have its rolling hills because we are in central Kentucky and we're known for our rolling hills. But um, kind of you addressing that situation, it's not terrible. There's not a lot of roads in Paris, which is great. So the city can really attack those roads relatively quickly compared to maybe some of these other cities like Lexington, where there's hundreds and thousands of roads that they've got to cover, and the trucks can only go so far so fast. So just kind of know that weather-wise, we've got 2 real bad months in the summer, 2 bad months in the winter, but the rest of these seasons, it's really not that bad. March is a little hectic because it's trying to go from that cold to hot, and it's a little bit crazy because it might be 75 and sunny on Monday, and by the end of the week in March, it's going to be snowing and 18 degrees. That's just how it is. So, but once you get to that 4th week of March, it's pretty warm outside. It's in the 60s. You can put your sweaters up. I mean, we're not going to deal with that much anymore. So that's kind of what the weather's like here in Kentucky. Now, one of probably the cons of living in a small town, country town, I should say, like Paris, is if you're not real big into outdoorsy stuff, doing stuff outside, there's not a lot to do in Paris. So little to no entertainment is definitely going to be one of those cons that you might see in Paris. But I will say they do have a drive-in movie theater that I'm a big fan of. My wife and I are both big fans. We go to probably once or twice every year because they'll always do multiple movies. They'll do not say series, but seasonal plays. So like if there's Halloween, during the Halloween they'll play famous Halloween movies back to back, and they'll do it every single weekend leading up to Halloween. Same thing with Christmas. Right about this time, they're still trying to do it. I mean, it's December and it's still in the 60s, so they can still pull it off. It just depends on whether or not it's raining. So you definitely need to check them out. I'll leave a link down below. Gotta give them a shout out because they do a good job. Like I said, my wife and I, we like going to the drive-in theater. It's good pricing on their food and entrance, so it's definitely one of those that you got to do if you're in the area. But if you got to find the other kinds of entertainment, you're going to have to drive to Lexington for it. But it's only 20 minutes away, 25 minutes, so it's not that big of a drive. Kind of leads me into that third con, ladies and gentlemen. with that being a small town. That could be a con for some people. And it's like with a little to no entertainment, you got to do stuff outside. Small towns might not be for you. It might not be the destination for you and your family, and that's something to consider when looking around to the different places. I know I talked a little bit about the weather. I definitely need to address our allergy season when it comes to Kentucky. It definitely can be a con, especially if you're not from the area and you've never experienced it before. Uh, I mean, it could hit you like a ton of bricks. I can tell you, I coached boys lacrosse, and that usually starts right in the middle of January or late January and goes through spring. So it'll hit you. It gets hard to breathe. I remember one season I couldn't even talk for about 3 days. It wasn't because I was yelling at everybody or at the kids or anything. It was just I could tell it was allergies. I could barely breathe. I had to have one of my assistants stand next to me, and I would just whisper to him, what to do. And it's crazy. I haven't done that in a while, thank goodness. But I would say have that medicine ready, have that Mucinex, whatever you got to do to be ready, because that will catch you off guard if you're not ready for it. One final con for Paris, Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen. I've done a little bit of research, and some of my research is showing me that where some cities are growing, Paris is actually getting smaller. So it's not by a dramatic shift. It's not like it's a 10% decline every single year. It's just one of those things where they're not necessarily growing, but that could be a good thing at the same time. If you're trying to escape for your forever home and you want to live in a small town, that small country home, and there's not going to be this booming development, Paris might be that spot for you. I mean, it's going to be one of those that it's not going to get that much bigger. It's definitely not going to get that much smaller. It's probably just going to be flatline for a long time. And Paris might be that place that you need to check out and you need to research, because it's, I know it can be a con, but at the same time, if you're trying to escape to somewhere, you don't want it to develop in the next like 15 years, because then you're going to have to move and find somewhere else to go. So that's something that I think is something unique. It's a little bit different when I did the research and started looking more into it. So it could be a con, but if you're, again, looking for that small town country home, Paris might be the perfect spot, because they're not looking to grow dramatically over the next 20 years. That does it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate you all for watching. Thanks so much for all the comments, the likes, the shares. I can't tell you how much we do appreciate that here, ladies and gentlemen. Be on the lookout for more videos. We're going to continue doing neighborhood tours. I'll probably start doing some ones here in Paris. I'm going to do some ones in Versailles. I've got one out in Winchester already. So just be on the lookout, especially if you're trying to research more about different areas. If you know someone who's trying to research more about different areas, share them our channel, share them our videos, let them know that we're doing this. Leave us a comment down below if you want to learn more about Paris, Winchester, Versailles, Scott County. It does not matter. Just let us know, and we'll do our best to get the information out there. We've got best restaurant videos coming out, best pizza places coming out. We're going to cover everything that we can about living in the area of Lexington, Kentucky, and the surrounding areas as well. So, I'd love all the support and all the ideas that you can give me. So, ladies and gentlemen, last but certainly not least, give me one more chance at that like button, hit that subscribe button. You'll always know what's going on. And ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the support. This has been Murphy with the Deuce Kirk team at Keller Williams Commonwealth and living in Lexington. Y'all have a great day.